So I will talk about September 5, and we will talk about Sing Sing, right? So because both shows came out a while back, we're not gonna say too long on them, right? And as far as well September 5 goes, this is currently being nominated for Best Original Screenplay, while Sing Sing is being nominated for Best Actor for Coleman Domingo, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Song, Like a Bird, right? Well, the name of the song is Like a Bird, sorry.
Right.
So kicking off with September 5, right? So I went into this as blind as I could. All I just knew it was just a drama slash thriller, all right? And it's based on a historical event, right? I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what September 5th was about, right? But yeah, in a nutshell, it centers on, well, the Munich massacre that took place in 1972, right? What the show does, it frames it from the perspective of the ABC news team, or I should say sports team, right? That was
Right.
there covering the event in Munich, right? So they had the little station set up close to where the Olympics was taking place, right? And this was like one of the first examples of like satellite TV broadcasting a live event, right? So yeah, they were covering the event and whatnot, right? And yeah, basically we see from the very beginning, so that's why it's called September 5. Yeah, everything that took place on that day, right? Which is where basically these Palestinian terrorists broke into this compound and basically took the Israeli representatives, the sports team, the hostage, right? For a whole day.
But Steven Spielberg made a movie about it. Black September.
Yeah. Well, his film was Munich, right? Which wait for it, folks. Forgive me. I still have not seen. I know it's a show that I should see, but yeah, for some weird reason, I just never got around to watching that. I don't know why. I really don't know why, right? I honestly barely know all the details about what went on that day, and that's just simply because I didn't see the movie, right? I didn't see Munich, sorry. But yeah, in a nutshell, it's just this team, right? We're just seeing the team the production team basically, right? So these are the ones who just kind of covering everything, right? So they setting up every shot, every broadcast, all that kind of stuff. And they eventually become aware of what's going on with the terrorist attack and all that kind of stuff. And we're just basically seeing just how they react to things, right? They actually sneak in an assistant into the compound itself. So he just going in with reels of film and he just bringing back content for them to show. And there's a little moment, actually a nice little subplot involving them, because remember it's ABC, right? Yeah, fighting up with CBS, trying to get actual coverage time now, because yeah, and you have to remember, and this is actually really fascinating too, how this show touches on that, right? Yeah, it wasn't like all right, ABC was showing their thing, yes, right, but you have to remember too that that it was also contending with the other two big stations, which was NBC and CBS, right? So they had to be careful of what type of content they show, because it's like, for example, if CBS showing news at 12 o'clock, they have to be careful not to run some kind of live event at the same time, because they're going to expect now that the wider public going to tune into CBS for news, right? And if they want to see ABC News now, they have to wait till like 6 o'clock or something like that to see that, right? So yeah, even back then, they had to play with their times, right? But imagine that situation going on now when there's this hostage situation going on, and they just try to figure out, well, okay, what footage do we show, and yeah, how they gonna deal with it, right? Because they can't just sit down and just let this thing happen, right? And I'll stop there, right? So just seeing that situation play out from the perspective of these ABC people, I thought that was really a smart touch, right? And as far as its nomination for Best Original Screenplay, I think that it is rightfully deserved, though, because just how they were able to craft this story, right? In about roughly 90 minutes. I thought it was just very, very well done, right? In terms of the dialogue, in terms of just how they build the tension around this whole situation. And what's really interesting as well too is that you actually don't see like the event itself, in the sense that it's not reenacted at all, right? What the show does very well is that it uses actual footage that was recorded from ABC themselves, and it uses that now as cutaways to see what's going on, right? So when you if you see any moment involving the terrorists or the hostages, right? It's all ABC footage, right? They actually get moments involving Peter Jennings, right? The late great Peter Jennings, right? What they also do is that they actually get an actor to play him as well too, they do something really smart with him near the end as well, say without spoiling it, right? But yeah, they have moments where you're actually hearing the real Peter Jennings covering the event, because he was in the, not so much in the midst of things, but he was in the area where he was just basically where all the attendees were, and where the games was going on close by. So he was around there, and that was where the assistant was snuck into to try to film stuff now, because that was in a certain section of where the Olympics was taking place. So he was just filming stuff and just ducking out before people find out about him and he gets shot, right? So it's like that, right? But how they use archival footage in this show was kind of brilliant in my opinion, right? But that's how it was just able to build tension without actually showing the event, right? So you're just hearing from, the people themselves, right? Whether it's the real life journalists or the actors who are playing the real life people who are in this building trying to like make sense out of this chaos. I thought really worked here, right? Performances, even though you don't really see like a lot of like big name people, like there's a couple of faces like I noticed like Peter Skarsgård. He pop up there as well.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and a couple of other people that I know I saw in other shows before, right? But it's not like big name actors, right? I think that's the reason why this show, let's just say, for lack of a better term, wasn't trending as much as it did, right? Because it's a very small scale show, right? Even though it's released through Paramount Pictures, right? But it's not like you have like a big name actor to sell it, right? And I think it works here because, yeah, it's just pretty much treated like this ensemble piece, right? It's not really one person carrying the show. It's just everybody who's involved in the situation, right? So yeah, for what it's worth though, I thought that the acting was decent across the board, right? I thought that the music worked here, very tense, very ominous as well. This is not really a gripe per se, but while I did appreciate the show for what it was doing and the story it was telling, admittedly it wasn't a show that stuck with me, right? And I guess it's just because I didn't find myself too emotionally attached to what was going on. I mean, yes, it's a terrible event and it's something that really shouldn't happen, right? Especially when you find out the outcome of that event, right? But still, I was not like emotionally invested to the point of feeling sour or anything like that the moment the film ended, right? I just really admired it for the script, just how tight it was, just how well paced the story was, just how I should also mention too, right? One other praise I'll give this film. The color grading though, I thought was really, really solid here, right? Because they do it in such a way that it's meant to suddenly look like the actual archival footage, right? So in other words, it's meant to look like a 70s film, but it doesn't look entirely it doesn't look entirely old school. That's the point I get at. So point is
the Spielberg film kind of did that too.
Okay.
It had that kind of slightly washed out look.
Yeah.
Everything and every kind of grayed out and grimy. And it fit the tone of the story, but also the time period.
Right, yes. And that's exactly what it's going for, right? I could tell that they're drawing from 70s thrillers, right? Like All the President's Men and, Black Sunday and stuff like that. They drawing from those old school 70s thrillers, right? They make a lot of sense, right? But I don't know, but just for me, just seeing the way how they work the archival footage really made this film stand out, right? But just again, emotionally, it just didn't like stick with me as much as all that, right? So I saw it, a couple days ago and I admired it for what it was. It's not a show that I remember in a hurry, but I do think that its Oscar nom is rightfully deserved. And even if it doesn't win, I still think that, it's still a show worth checking out, right? Unless you just genuinely don't care for the material or you just know more than enough about what went down in Munich back in 1972, right? So rating-wise, I'm going to give this a lighter, decent 3.5 out of 5, man. It's worth checking out. Again, if you're interested in this material, I really do think you should check it out. But in particular, I would say if you're just curious as to why this show is nominated for Best Original Screenplay, I would say, yeah, check it out, right? But yeah, this is a decent film. Not as big as all that, right? Again, like I say, it's a very like small scale kind of film when you really like just the way how I describe it. It's very low key, if you will, right? But again, that doesn't mean that it is not worth checking out, right? So I would say, yeah, give it a watch, man. It would hurt. Just give it a watch. And continuing on, I know you saw this a long while before me, right? Sing Sing, finally got the chance to see it. As I said before, this is nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor, and Best Song, right? Yeah, so basically this is a prison drama and it's centered on the real life figure of Divine G, right? So who was incarcerated at Sing Sing, right? In New
Right.
York, right? Years ago, right? And he's part of this, well, it's called the RTA program, or Rehabilitation Through the Arts, right? So it's
Right.
basically this basically this theater arts program, right? So and it's hinted that he has experience in theater arts, right? He mentioned later on in the show that he studied ballet. He actually studied in the same school that the movie Fame, directed by the late great Alan Parker, was based in, right? So he actually
Right.
studied there, right? But yeah, he got in trouble with the law and he got incarcerated, right? And throughout the show they played on whether he'll be released or not, right? So yeah, he's there, and there's another guy by the name of Divine Eye, right? And this the
Yeah.
moment I heard those two names, I was like, oh, they 5%ers. Oh, okay.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what they are. That's what
Yeah.
they are, right? The whole peace God kind of thing. That's what it was. Well, they didn't say peace
Yeah.
God, right? But they said peace, right?
Yeah.
So the moment I just hear Divine, this, I'm like, all right, oh, I know who you guys are. I get it, right? But yeah, it's just basically, well, those two and some other prisoners as well too, right? And I was actually like, I was thinking about it while I was watching the show. I was like, are they real prisoners or like that? Or are they actors playing prisoners?
Right.
And then you find out in the end. I thought that was really smart that they did this, right? Slight spoiler. They're actually real prisoners, right? They actually
Yeah.
were prisoners who did the program in Sing Sing, right? And yeah, you're just basically seeing, yeah, just these characters in the element. They're working on this play. They try to put this thing together, but at the same time, you could tell that they're doing this to kind of, yeah, simply put, just ease their mind up because, yeah, I mean, being in these conditions, just being in prison, I mean, I know that will take a toll on anybody, right? But yeah, they're just using theater arts to basically deal with that, to ease that pain, right? And to express themselves, right? And hopefully, once they release, they could take that they can take what they've learned and better themselves, right? In the world, right? That's really what the show is about, right? So let's
Yep.
gonna keep this review short and sweet, right? I really really enjoyed this too. I kind of
Yeah.
love this as well, right? Just because of how heartfelt it is. So it's a very very heartfelt film, right? I love how it celebrates theater arts, right? Just the power of theater. That's the idea of you channeling your own emotions, your own pain, your joy, and all that kind of stuff, your own experiences through acting, right? I love that it's guys who aren't, they didn't go to some college or whatever it is and learn these things. They had to learn. Well, they just sort of learned it because it was either this or they just stay in the cell, just doing nothing but reading or whatever, right? They just take this chance, and it's giving them an opportunity to just step out of the hell that they're in, right? And they're just being able to be creative, right? And they just form this camaraderie amongst each other and all that kind of stuff, right? Coleman Domingo is great in this film though, so charming, so likable, right? And you do feel his struggle as well too, because yes, while he's enjoying himself at this, while he's doing this whole program, he wants to get out, right? And there's this really heartbreaking moment where he has to talk to this parole officer, and she's basically talking about, there's a chance, but it's a very slim chance that he could get out of here. But because the lack of evidence involved in your case is like, well, you might have to stay here a little bit longer, right? And it's parallel with Divine Eye as well too, because he's going through a sort of a similar situation as well, right? There's a moment where he reveals that his son-in-law was in jail as well, right? I was like, wow, man, that is rough, trip, because Divine G, like his family's his kids are back home, right? But Divine Eye is like your kid in jail, trip. That's rough though, you know what I mean? And I thought like the other performers were great as well, right? Even the guy who plays Divine G as well, right? Sorry, Divine Eye, right? Okay, yeah, he was a former prisoner at Sing Sing, right? He's been released now, right? But this be a fact that it's this Hollywood actor playing alongside relatively newbies, right? I mean, I don't want to call them amateurs, but just newbies as far as on-screen acting goes, right? Yeah, really, really worked though. It really added a lot to the film, right? Also love the cinema verite style to it with the camera work, the blocking, all that kind of stuff. I love how naturalistic the acting is throughout this film as well. And yes, so it's to the point that there are numerous moments where I'm watching this, I'm like, swear like you're watching a documentary. Swear like you're just seeing this, again, cinema verite documentary just play out in real time, right? But it's just really the idea of theater as this, just a way to express one's creativity and also use as a coping mechanism, right? To deal with just the harshness of life, right? Whether in this prison or outside of it, right? Yeah, really, really worked for me, right? And yeah, I really enjoy this, man. This is one that I felt I should have watched last year, right? And yeah, it probably would have been an honorable mention as you had, you had as an honorable mention, right? It would have been an honorable mention for me as well, right? But that's not to say that the show wasn't great for what it was, right? As far as it winning goes, alright, so while I do praise Common's performance in this, I really thought he killed it with this, right? I really don't think he'll win for Best Actor. If it wins for Best Song, cool, okay, no problem. But I am not familiar with like a Bird song. I just heard it in the end during the credits. I thought it was like a nice, R&B song, like a really pleasant R&B song, really hopeful and inspirational. But I only heard the song once, so I don't really know too much about it, right? And as far as Best Adapted Screenplay, right? Because yes, the original guy, the original Divine G, actually wrote about this, right? So this is his memoir, if you will, right? I guess it could win, but I am still rooting for Conclave to win for Best Adapted Screenplay, right? Just at the moment, right? But yeah, if it were up to me, I could see this winning Best Original Song. I could see that, right? Especially with the whole drama going on with Emilia Perez. They might, they probably had that El Mal as the winner, but because of what going on, it's like, nah, let me just give it to Sing Sing. Let me just give it to that. Nah, let me just move on from Emilia Perez, right? I don't know what will happen, right? But I guess you'll see, right? But yeah, for me, rating-wise, strong 4 to very light 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this film, man. This is, and I would say as far as Colman Domingo goes, this is one of the best performances I've seen from him. I want to see him like lead more films going forward, right? I know that there's a TV show that he did, but I can't remember the name of it right now.
I forget him.
Yeah, but I just always know him as, like side characters, right? Not so much in lead.
Right?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. But yeah, he really should be doing more lead roles, more lead performances. 'Cause I really think he have it in him I really think that if he just sticks with it, he could definitely win an Oscar one day. I don't think it'll be this year. But if he does win this year, much power to him, right? But yeah, Sing Sing was great, man. Well, I know you saw it months ago, but yeah, anything you remember from it, and what do you think about it, so?
Oh yeah, the music is what stick with me. Is solid stuff. This is generally excellent in my opinion overall, but not like, again, it could have been a masterpiece, not a masterpiece. And one person I knew had it as the #1 film of the year. But it's like, I get it, but like not for me personally.